If you're able to see me or hear me, please give me a thumbs up. It helps me to know that I'm not talking to myself. I'm quite used to talking to myself anyway. I'm always doing like my own YouTube videos. Okay, yes, you can see me on my phone. I'll just place it down on the screen. I think there's a little bit of a lag in terms of what I can see on the screen and what you can see. That's me watching. This one. Okay, so any thumbs up? Anybody here that can hear me right now? Okay. Hi, Naomi, you okay? I'm quite frustrated again. It just hasn't worked out. We gave it half an hour more time today to get it ready and it just hasn't worked out. But at least you can see me, which is a good thing. So thank you so much for joining me on this Facebook Live. It's so stressful, honestly. Like when you're someone that has a bit of anxiety anyway, it's really stressful. My daughter has tried to help me. So thank you, Malaya, for trying your best to help me. You're very, very best. You tried to help me. But anyway, for those of you who've joined me today, I basically did a video last night and the video was based on how to homeschool your child for free. So if you haven't watched that video, I suggest you go back and watch it, maybe after this live, go back and watch the video. I kind of break down, different ways that you can homeschool your child at different age levels. So from the age of 0 to 5, I talk about the best ways of homeschooling children. Then you have 3 to 5, 5 to 11, and 11 to 16. But anyway, my name is Sophia Morrison and I'm the author of 1.3, Welcome to the Family. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about me, for those of you who might be joining me for the first time. I am a single mother of 3 children. I became a single parent in 2007 when I was pregnant with my daughter. And I was single for about 7-8 years, got married, and I'm single again. So that's a very quick synopsis. I am also a qualified primary school teacher, and I've worked in education since 1998. So I live education, I breathe education. I'm always talking about education, trying to find ways of helping parents and people to educate their children in the best way. I'm also very much about empowering parents to know that you are the first educator of your child. You don't have to rely on the state to educate them. Obviously, teachers have trained and they're qualified and they know how to teach children, but that doesn't mean that you don't know how to teach your child too. So I'm all about giving you skills and different things to help you to educate your child. So all of us want our children to do well, but the main thing would be to think about how, think about what that looks like to you. What does doing well look like to your children? So I'm just going to give a quick presentation now, and then at the end of my presentation or me talking to you, you can then ask me questions about homeschooling your child. If your child goes to school, then maybe about supplementing your child's education. And I'll also give you some offers for some of my discounts that I have inside my shop as well, if you want to purchase things. But for now, my main focus is on the bronze plan. The bronze plan is part of my academy that I've created at 1.3 Family, my website. There's an academy in there, and I'm really talking to you about my bronze plan. Okay, so I'll just talk to you a little bit more about, what I have on offer. And then, like I said, if you have any questions, type them in the chat now, and then I can go through those questions at the end, okay? So questions about home education, home educating for free, or education in general. Okay, so, thank you. Let me put my charger on, sorry, hold on a minute. Just make sure I didn't even know you could go live on your phone. I thought when I read on Google, it said that you had to have at least 1,000 subscribers to go live on your phone, but obviously it still works. So, okay, so let me talk about my community. 1.3 Academy is a community for Christian home educators. I say Christian, but you do not have to be a Christian in order to, take part in this curriculum. It's for anybody, but obviously the Christian worldview is what I've used to develop my curriculum, because the curriculum is really based upon my family, my own personal family of my 3 children, and my extended family. So some of the characters that I've created in the curriculum, they're based on like nieces and nephews and things like that. So that's what you'll find in a lot of my books. I have 3 plans in this academy curriculum. The bronze plan is for free materials that I found over the web, over the years that I've been home educating and working with children. So free things that I found on YouTube or Google or PDFs that, that people put online for free. And I've collated these over the years, and I felt like, it'd be really nice to be able to share them with other people. So 1.3 Academy is really about 1.3 Academy is really about So I'm trying to focus because I've got the chat. This is when I've got like so much of things coming on, it's harder for me to go live than it is for me to, have my recorded videos. But 1.3 has a bronze plan, which is all free, like I said, with all the different materials around the web. Then you have the silver plan. The silver plan is not free, but it is a family plan. And on the silver plan, what happens there is that I will teach maths and English through pre-recorded videos to your child. There will also be detailed assessments in there based on the national curriculum, so you will know exactly the areas that your child needs to work on. This is good for those of you who follow the national curriculum and don't really follow the American curriculum, basically. So it's like if you want to have the same age-related goals as people that go to school, then 1.3 Academy Silver Plan will be good for you also. I have the gold plan as well. The gold plan is more for people that want consultations with me and have questions about, looking after their children. Okay, so some of the materials that I've made, today I spent a lot of time just printing out some of my material. And actually, when it's a PDF file, you don't really realize that how much papers are on each of my curriculums. So look at the thickness of this curriculum. This is my year 1 free curriculum that I've got online, okay? Basically, it's so thick, and I was so surprised at how much work I put into this curriculum. So this is available for you now. You can go to my website at www.1.3family.com. You can download this for free. This is obviously the printed version. But in like the year 1 curriculum, what I have in here, it goes from the very beginning. It's a bit hard to show you. It goes from the very beginning, and it has like phonics and maths that your child can do at home. So there's different resources available in here. I don't know if you can see that. So you've got like 100 square, you've got a spelling chart, you've got some of the tricky words in there, alphabet, maths. All of these things are contained within the curriculum, and all you have to do is basically print this off yourself. It's all free, and then you can laminate whatever you need to laminate on there and just work with your child at home. Okay, so it's got like the alphabets, there's lots of nursery rhymes in here as well. And then I've got like guided lines as well for your child to practice their handwriting on as well. As you go through the book, the phonics, the phonic letters increase. Obviously there's maths and different things in here, but I've done all this for you and it's literally free. So you can go to the website and download that today. I've also got a year 2 free curriculum, the same sort of thing, same kind of thickness as well. And there's a bit of colour in here, but again, you can just set your printer to black and white and you're able to print and download all of this for free. And it's all based upon national curriculum goals and targets, things that I found that works with my children in my class. So that's the year 2 free curriculum pack there. Then I have, I'm going in the wrong order, but I've got the reception pack as well, just as thick. And again, you just like download and do the different activities with your child at home. Okay, so share this with your friends. If you know anyone that's looking for free material, you can share that with your friends and they can download it just the same and do what they need to. If you would like me to print it for you, I'm thinking about maybe putting some of this curriculum inside my Etsy shop and I can print it. You can just pay for the printing cost. But for now, I think it's better if you just download it yourself. In my shop, also, I've got some learning folders that might be good for your child. These learning folders are, they have more concrete type of materials in there where it's got Velcro dots at the back and your child is able to, move the laminated symbols and signs and pictures around and, learn their sounds in different ways. Yes, there's different things to do with these folders as well. But this one's not free. This is literally part of my, other things inside my shop. So I just wondered, if anyone has any questions really about home educating, questions about the curriculum, and that's what I'm here for really. So I feel like it's a little bit choppy because I had on my notes, but I got a little bit flustered towards the end. So I know it has been a little bit choppy, but if you have any questions, let me know and I'll answer them. Let me see what I can see. Right, so no questions so far, that's fine. No problem, Richard, I know it's buffering on your end, I'm glad it's fine. Okay, but it's nice to see that some of you have joined me today. Some things I wanted to ask as well is people that are home educating their children, is there anything in particular that you would like to see online for your children? Do you feel like you've kind of got it, you kind of know what you're doing already with your child and these sort of things are not really helpful in any way? Because I feel like I've got the vision for, for doing this for you, but I've kind of decided to stop for a moment and just see if there's anything else that people really need. And when there's a need there, then I'm happy to continue working through that need and, developing things that people need. But that's the sort of thing that I'm looking for from the audience. Okay, I have nothing else to say really. Do you know what? I don't know if I'm going to do a live again though. I feel like live streaming is actually quite nerve-wracking. I'm not sure if this is the right way to go. I don't know really. So All right, well, I can't see any questions at all. So it looks like everyone seems fine at the moment. But what I'll do, you can basically, if you have any questions at a later date that you'd like to ask me, there's Rice Krispies up there, yeah. The plan was to have the camera was supposed to be set this way. It was supposed to be set like that, like it was yesterday. But the issue is now that I've had to put my phone down. So yes, there's Rice Krispies in there. It stays at the top. And there's some other random things there. But okay, I'm going to end the free live here. And if you do have questions at a later date, then please leave them in the comment section down below the video. And also for those of you who subscribe to 1.3 Academy, in the month of February, there'll be other discounts that will come your way through your email. Okay, but because there's no questions so far, I think I will nearly leave it. Bailey is in the front room, being a really good boy. Bailey, my dog, he's 1 year old now. So, so Bailey is 1 year old now. So he's like getting much better. Bailey is still very dog reactive. So he tends to, whenever he sees a new dog, he barks at them the whole time. But he is around. He's been a good boy. I'm not going to open the door because if I do, he'll jump all over me and, ruin my hair and things like that. But Bailey's good. And I've got a question from Naomi. It says, is homeschooling easier with teens or children? Thank you for the question. I felt like I was about to just jump out the live chat in a minute. Okay, homeschooling teens. So I've been homeschooling my children from the age of, I took them out of school when Malaya Sky, my daughter, was in year 1, the end of year 1. I took Tiago out when he was at the end of year 2, and my older boy took him out at the end of year 5. So I found that the primary age for me was easier. I'm a primary school teacher anyway, so I've done lots of work on child development and things like that. And I just felt like teaching them at a younger age was, I'd say, easier. I'd say it's easier when they're younger to how it is now. I think within the homeschool community, there's so much more groups available for children who are younger. So I knew that I could put them in a science group or take them to the park or connect with other families while we were homeschooling them at a younger age. It was easier to kind of get toys out and just play with them and be in control of them. And I think it's the same with parenting. What I find with parenting younger children, it's still quite intense mentally for younger children and older children. But with the younger ones, they look to you for your everything and they think of you as like their superhero. When they're older, they see you for who you truly are. And they're a little bit more they tend to back chat a bit more, and you have to kind of deal with that a lot more. So in terms of parenting, I found the parenting easier when they were younger to how I find it now that they're older. And I also find homeschooling easier when they were younger to how it is now that they're older. There wasn't many groups around like to get them to kind of socialize or just go to a place with like-minded people. So I felt that when they were older, I had to make my own groups for them. So I made my own home education groups where I invited lots of teenagers to come along. And at first they were a little bit, not shy, but thinking, oh yeah, I don't know if it's going to work. We feel like we're too old for it. But the minute I had a group of teens coming together, I felt as though they loved it. And they did so well in the hall. I did show and tell. Even though you think of show and tell for younger children, I did show and tell for the older children, and they would bring in like basketball, like their jerseys or, instruments that they were playing, and they'd get a chance to really talk and maybe do a bit of rap battles and singing and different things. And I found it really good because then obviously they'd work together on their paces or their curriculum, then go off and play later on. So I feel that there was much more available for younger children than there was for teenagers. And then also with the pandemic as well, the pandemic kind of took away a few years in terms of what we could do. So I think for the last 2 years, there's been a lot of them being at home, still trying to do activities outside of the house, but there hasn't been much of a connection as there used to be. Yeah, so I'm not sure if there's any more questions coming in. I think we put a bit of a delay on here where it's only people that subscribe that can ask questions. I'm just going to check something. Hold on a minute. Yeah, okay, so I've got another question here. Okay, so that's weird. I'm getting questions coming up on my phone later than I am getting them on the computer. Okay, so I have a question from Damaz Lucas. Hello, Damaz Lucas. It says, how did lockdown affect your schooling? And do you feel any effects of it still now? So lockdown schooling didn't affect my children in any way academically. So the academics stayed the same. They were able to still work on the same goals that they would work on before. So whereas children who were in school, they had to adapt to being at home, and they still had their teachers on the other end, marking a register, and, they had to be there at a set time doing their work. Home education and the pandemic schooling was completely different. So I felt as though their work wasn't really affected by the pandemic as such, but it was affected slightly in terms of, what we had going on within our family. So where like just mentally not being able to see people as much, that affected them in the same way that it would affect any other children. So not being able to go to their normal sports or not being able to see family members in the same way, that affected them. But that's more like a family thing rather than a schooling thing. But in terms of their age-related goals, they still did quite good. And I think the good thing about the lockdown was that my older boy at the time, he had decided to, well, not so, he had enrolled in a sixth form. So he was in the sixth form for the first 6 months and he settled in quite well. But I think the pandemic happened at that sort of time there. So it was almost like he was at home half as much time as he was in school. So to me, it felt like I wasn't missing him as much because he was still in the house with us a lot more doing his work online. So for me, that was quite nice. I think for him, it was a bit of an interruption from being homeschooled for so long to then having to, do work online at school. It was a bit of an interruption in his learning, but it didn't really affect us academically in any way. And do you feel any effects of it still now? The only effects I feel of the pandemic is the same sort of effects everybody else would maybe be experiencing in terms of mental health. I think mental health, that affects us all in different ways. And I've had to look at my children and make sure that they're okay. And I say the mental health in terms of not being able to go out, or maybe the losses that took place around that time, because there was quite a lot of losses that took place in our life, which affected us. But in general, in terms of academics, I think they were fine. I think most home educators were fine. It's just, the social aspect, not being able to leave the house. But in general, yeah, I think it's been okay. Okay, I got a few more questions. Okay, that's like you guys want to keep me here. That's fine. I've got all day anyway. I just feel like, okay, there's no question. I don't know what to say. Okay, so there's a question that came up. Yeah, there you go. So it says, one from Richard. It says, do you cater for teens who know exactly what vocation they want to go into? Like, for example, if a teen knows they want to go into the financial accountancy type of work. Okay, let's see this again. So let's break it down. Do you cater for teens who know exactly what vocation they want to go into? Yeah, I do. I mean, I work with, when I homeschool is about my own children. So when I look at my own children, they all knew exactly which area they wanted to go into. So for example, my elder boy, Enriquez, he wanted to be a doctor. So I had to cater my curriculum around that. So what I did with him was that I made sure, on my laptop, sorry. Oh, I've got to call my daughter, I know it's alive. Lele? Can you get my charger, please? Is it my bag? My laptop. Sorry about that. Yeah, so with Enriquez, I had to kind of cater for his science. I had to make sure that he actually did the supplementary subjects, like the biology, the chemistry, the physics. I had to make sure that he was able to have those skills and those curriculums in place in order for him to get to where he wanted to be. So now my son, he wants to do the BTEC. I've had to make sure that I look into business GCSE to make sure that he, has everything he needs for that. So with the teenagers, the main thing you need to do is start from the very top. So that's a really good question, Richard. You start from the very top to know where it is that they possibly want to go into. You look at it at maybe a university level, an apprentice level, or whatever level you need to. Find out what qualifications they need and work your way backwards. So I definitely cater for that. In terms of homeschooling other people's children, I run a creative writing class on a Tuesday. And again, I offer it for free. I feel like free is my ministry. I offer it for free because I feel as though, because I'm teaching my own children creative writing at home, I may as well just have other children join us at the table and learn it at the same time. And they come and it's a vibrant class and they're so intelligent. They're so clever that, we have a really good time. What else did you say? Yes, I hope I've answered your question. If not, just leave another question down below. I've got another one here that says, do you think there is a better age to begin homeschooling? That's interesting, actually. Not really. I wouldn't say there's like a better age. I guess if the younger you do it, the less of school is within the child, basically. So if you've never home educated your child and you start home educating from the very beginning, they don't really miss out on anything. So, so that's a good age to start. I know families that have, their children have never been to nursery, never been to school, and their children are just striving because they don't really miss anything. Whereas for me, with my second boy, Tiago, he always was talking to me about his school. He'd always say to me like, oh, I wonder what my teacher's doing. I wonder what my class is doing. And he was always doing that. So whenever we drove past his school, he was always kind of looking and wondering. So he was like, had one foot in school still and one foot at home. So he wanted to be with me at home, but he wanted to be in school. And I've got a video where I talk about him going back to school. So he's the only one that went back to school out of my children. And he went back in year 6. And it's really interesting talking to him about his experience of that as well. So there's not really a perfect age. Some children need to be homeschooled. Some children message me themselves and they ask me, I want to be homeschooled. What can I tell my mum in order for them to homeschool me? I'm having a really bad time at high school. What can I do in order for, to be home educated and things like that. So there's not really a perfect age for it. Yeah. But I would say maybe if I could do it again, I think I'll probably let them all do reception at school and then I'll take them out after reception. Okay, let's see. Help for 7-year-old in Portugal, transitioning, need help for him and his wife. So let's see. Help for 7-year-old in Portugal, transitioning, need advice for him and his wife. He needs a curriculum to work on at the moment as a school system don't take her till she's actually 7. Yeah, some schools are like that. Some schools don't really take their children in until they're, until they're at a certain age. So if she's transitioning from maybe school to home, I would say the first thing the parents need to do is get their home in order. Or maybe their house is a lot more organized than my house was. But the first thing I would say is get the house into order, get a routine going with that family. So they need to get that child used to being home with them. Like if they've been at school already and they're now going to homeschool, I would say don't jump straight into homeschooling their child, but take a time of deschooling to get the school out of their child and just, look at routines that you have inside your home, like what time do they get up in the morning, what time do they have their dinner, what time do they have bath time, what is the normal structure like within the home. And once they've established a real structure within the home, then they can start looking at where they have free periods and then they can start adding some of the basic foundational subjects into the child's learning. So I'm not sure much about the Portugal education system, but I would say focus on the language area, like reading, writing, and then also do the arithmetic, the 3 R's we call it. So reading, writing, arithmetic. If you focus on those 3 basic skills, then that would help the child at the very basic level. And then from there, you can kind of build up the skills by introducing other subjects slowly. Yeah, that's what I would say. He needs a curriculum to work on at the moment as a school system don't take her till it's actually 7. You could also go to my website at 1.3 Family and download my free curriculums that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So I've got 3 different curriculums that I have on my website and they're absolutely free. So if you go to www.1.3family.com, you can download my curriculum. So this is like my reception curriculum, as I mentioned before. I've also got my year 1 curriculum and I've also got a year 2 curriculum as well. That might help, but obviously there's a bit of a language barrier there. There is other Spanish curriculums as well that are out there, and what I'll do at the end of this video, I'll send some links at the bottom of my page. You can maybe go there and grab some of those ideas for curriculum for that child as well. Also, Sally says, can you get a network of homeschools together? How do you can contact other homeschools who provides a list? Yeah, okay, so in the UK, I can focus on the UK RM because what we do to connect, we normally go on Facebook. Facebook is a really good platform in terms of connecting with other home educators. So literally go to Facebook, type in groups and go on there and just type in the type of homeschooling you're looking for. There's unschooling, there's homeschooling, there's Christian home education, there's all different things there. But go onto Facebook, type it in, and then you should come up with a list of other home educators there. There's also other places in the UK. One's called Education Otherwise, which is a company that you could possibly connect with. The curriculum that we use is called the Accelerated Christian Education Curriculum. Sorry, I had an interruption there. So the curriculum that I use with my children is called the Accelerated Christian Education Curriculum, and they also have schools around the world as well. So there is a Spanish curriculum on there as well. And there's other curriculums in there as well that I can maybe send the link down again below, and that might help you to figure out what type of curriculum is best for your child. Bear with me. Okay. And then let's see. How to source materials. How to source materials. Can you open the chat function? I don't know how to do that. I'm not sure how. I think you need to subscribe because obviously I want to build my subscribers up too. So maybe if you press subscribe, for those of you who can't get in with questions, click on the subscribe button, and once you've subscribed, you should be able to submit your questions in there. So those of you that are not able to ask questions, that's the feature that I set at the beginning of this YouTube. I think in order for me to change that, I'd have to kind of play around with the screen a little bit, and it might cut me off. So press subscribe to my channel. I've got lots of content on my channel already. It'd be nice to have a subscriber there, and hopefully that will help you to ask more questions. That's for Rachel, who asked that question. And Sally, if you press subscribe, it should help. Okay. What are you having for tea this evening? For tea this evening, I haven't actually decided. I think it's going to be a takeaway, Richard. I think we're going to have some kind of kebab or maybe a burger with hash brown today, because I'm not cooking after this. I'm not cooking at all. What are you having for tea this evening, Richard? Okay, another question from, okay, I've got a question here. Do you run homeschool groups? Not at the moment, not currently, but I have done in the past. I have run homeschool groups. I ran a group in Watford for 2 successful years. I can see chats, Sarah, I can see them. So send me another message, it might come through now. But yeah, with regards to homeschool groups, I have run a group in the past. It was amazing. I had a vision, like to run a group where children could do work together in the group. And then from the work, they would then pray together and play together. And then in the evenings, we'd do lots of science experiments and, sports days and things like that. That group was called A Place for A.C.E. I'll send a link down below as well. And I also tried to set up another one called the Cedars group, but that one I was unable to do because there's too much red tape around COVID times as well. So Sarah, yes, I can only see what you just wrote there. So maybe if you have another question, you can maybe leave it down below for me. And Richard, are you going to be Chinese for you, is it? Chinese, fish and chips. So you're going to have Chinese and fish and chips. Wow. Chepstow is not very intentional on the Oh, bless. Right, I hope you enjoy that one. So yeah, sorry, if there's more chats there, I'm going to go scroll back up in case I've missed some. I'm not sure if I answered the questions great at all. I'm a bit thinking about Sally I, your questions. I'm not sure if I've answered them correctly. I might have to research some of those questions. Just checking if there's any more questions here. Yeah, so how many of you are homeschooling your children? Like, are most of the people on this chat, are most of you home educating your children too? If you're not necessarily home educating, have you got children that go to school already? How do you find the school system? Do you feel like you're doing more things at home to kind of supplement their learning? On my silver plan, I'm going to be focusing a little bit on the 11 plus exams. I'm not sure if many of you are aware of the 11 plus exams that they have. I've been teaching it in my class. I've helped a few children on a one-to-one basis to get into some grammar schools. And we cover verbal reasoning, non-verbal reasoning, maths and English, but in a different way. So I like to keep things quite practical as well as working through the past papers, but I'll be doing that also. So yeah, I'm not sure there's any more chats there. Let me see if there's a way to open it. Oh, uh-oh. Am I still there? Yeah, I'm still there. Good, you can still see me. Oh dear. Am I still there? So I clicked on something. I should not have done that. Okay, I'm back. All right, so there was a question I had over here. This is from Naomi Morrison. I definitely have a homeschool envy, but lack the confidence to passionately keep it up. Yeah, that's understandable. Many people that I come across, they say things like, you homeschool your kids. Like, wow, I would homeschool my children, but I wouldn't want to be with them all day, or, it's just, I just don't know what to do. And I think what happens there is that people worry that parents try to do is become the teacher in their home, like the teacher that they've seen. So they've seen an idea of what a teacher looks like, and then they've tried to create that same thing at home, which doesn't always work. So I think when you find your groove, you kind of know what it is that you can do with your children in order to, homeschool them in the way that you want to. But I think, yeah, after the pandemic, people knew whether or not they wanted to homeschool or not, even though that wasn't really homeschooling, that was something completely different. People knew whether or not they wanted their children at home with them all the time or not. So I do totally understand that. I think if the schools are giving you what you need, then why do you need to really homeschool them, really? I like being with my children, kind of, actually, I feel like I'm struggling a bit this year. Like, I feel like I'm really struggling. I think financially it can be a bit tricky because as a single parent homeschooler, I'm doing everything myself for them. So all my rent, everything that I do is I've got to pay for it based on my own business and things like that. And I feel as though like I put my career on hold in terms of home educate my children. So I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful for being able to do this. But I do just feel as though if my children were at school, when at home, I know that I'll be able to go back to work, maybe, buy a really nice car and things like that. But it's been a sacrifice. I've really enjoyed it. And I'm seeing the fruits of my labor now that the kids are getting older. But I do totally understand what it's like if you want to home educate, but it's not passion, it's fine. I guess it's the same as like any sort of school that you have. You have boarding schools out there that people go to, you have private schools, you have like state schools, you've got free schools. There's many schools available out there, many different educational options out there. So don't beat yourself up if you lack the confidence to passionately keep it up. Okay. I'm still there. Yep, still there. Oh, cool question, Richard. So you said, am I going to go back into school once my children, are you going back into school teaching when your children go to college uni? The plan is, I don't know. So I've been thinking about it. So this year, my daughter will be in year 11 in September. And I was speaking to her about the fact that I might go back to work like maybe 2 days a week or something. But then I thought, you know what? I've homeschooled the whole way through for Rico, my oldest. I've homeschooled the whole way through for Tiago, my second one. I don't want to kind of like only homeschool her full time, but obviously in a different way when she's at home. So I've decided to maybe leave it until September 2023, where I'm thinking about going back into the classroom for a year one class. So I will be probably working full time in a classroom in a year one class. I'm just looking at the type of schools I want to go into. I'm thinking maybe to go to like a private school to work at, or maybe my local school down the road, because obviously I've got Bailey as well. I've got to come home and make sure that he gets his walks and stuff. But I'm thinking about maybe continuing with my tuition business in the evenings, and then also working in the school. So I'm looking at it right now. And I actually even messaged the University of Hull to find out if I should do my master's in education, but they want to charge 10 grand for that. And I'm thinking, I'm talking here about how to homeschool for free. So I'm thinking, how can I do like my master's like without the qualification at home or something? But what I mean by that is I'm just thinking to basically learn more from different courses on Udemy, online, and just kind of keep researching education myself, and then just go back to work and maybe leave the masters for now. But you never know, I might do my masters in education, because I really feel like I've got a lot to say in terms of education. I love working with children. I love teaching them. I've had children that still come with me, still come to me now. My very first class, the children there would be 15 years old now, same as Tiago's age, and some of their siblings still come to me now. So it's obviously it's going well. I'm doing okay within it. You should open a school. A school would be cool. But I think open a school, go back to study. I don't know. I feel like I would love to have a school, like the idea of a school, but not like a school with so much red tape. I don't really like the whole Ofsted, like Ofsted getting involved and things like that. Even though I know it's important, in terms of safeguard and everything else like that. I think that, I don't know, I need to look into what's involved in opening a school, because I want to do it my way. And I think that's where the problem would come. I was talking to a friend actually yesterday about leadership roles in education. Like, would I go into any leadership roles? And again, I think I like it when it's my curriculum, it's my decision. But if I had to go into school, I don't want people to tell me what to do. That probably sounds really bad, but it's like, I love education. I remember when I worked in a school, I tended to find I spent most time in the classroom with the students. I didn't go into the staff room very often, but I still get hold of many of my friends, and I know there's lots of changes going on in in education. But I want to play. I remember. Let me tell you a story. I'm getting comfortable now. I'll tell you a story. I remember one time I was working in a school. I had a year one class, and this school was amazing because they did lots of play. So I'm an early year specialist, and I really like the idea of learning through play. So what it is, when they're in reception, you have a different 6 areas of learning that the children will learn in. And what would happen there is that you focus on knowledge and understanding of the world. You've got your math section, you've got your literacy section, things like that. And when they get onto year one, some schools go a little bit formal, but within my school, we're still able to have a bit of play in there. And I remember Ofsted came, but the day that Ofsted came, it was snowing outside. And I felt like my children were just like, wow, the snow, the snow, the snow. And we already had planned together as a class of what we would do for the children. But in the end, I thought, you know what, they need to get outside. So I just opened my door and I made the children go outside, and they made like snow angels, and we talked about the snow, what it feels like and things like that. And I was a bit nervous about going off target a little bit, but I felt like the snow and the children indoors, it was better for them to go outside and have that experience and just stay inside and looking at the snow. And actually the school got out, it was an outstanding school anyway, but they had said that they had named my class at that point and said, like, the fact that the teacher used her initiative and still created a learning opportunity based on what was available, which was the snow, basically. I thought that was quite cool. So I do love working with children. I'll let you know if I do decide to one day open a school. Okay, so I've got one from Richard. Yeah, I understand that. Then you have given all 3 of them your undivided dedication attention. Yeah, I'll put it up there. Oh, really? There's a dog. Oh, so really you've been to Hull? I've never been to Hull before, actually. But I'm still trying to figure out if I should do my master's there or not. Open a school, go back to study. You'd go to my school, would you, Etty? Oh, that'd be nice to know you go to my school. I wonder what I'd do in the school. I love the idea of it. I think that's why I've opened the online school. The online school is really there to help. So with my online school, I teach history, science, geography, maths, Bible, and a little bit of English within the school. And within 1.4 Academy, I will also be, you want to say hello? Tiago's going to say hello. I can't see. So with 1.4 Academy, we'll be meeting up as well on the silver plan. We'll be meeting up for field trips and going to different places together, like whatever the children decide, because I'll be teaching live as well online. Richard said good evening, Tiago.
Good evening.
He said good evening. So yeah, so that's my vision. Okay, just fill up his water bottle, guys. So yeah, that's my vision really for education. I just feel like education is a beautiful thing, and I think most people enjoy education, but one of my peeves is that we go to school for like 12 years, and then when it comes to home educating our children, we worry that we don't know what to teach them. I know parents are not necessarily qualified in the same way that I am being a qualified teacher, but at the same time, you don't need to have a teaching qualification in order to teach your children. But I feel as though, if you've been at school for 12 years, you need to recognise that you do have something. There is something that you have that you can give to your children from what you have learned already. I've got a question, when will the books be out? These books I need to just decide whether or not to sell these books as a print form on my shop. I might just add them to the shop, and if people want to buy the print form, they can just let me know. Otherwise, these ones will be on the shop by Monday. So you can get your learning folders on the shop. I'm going to update my Etsy shop by Monday. They'll be available. I also have an ebook that I'm just revamping the ebook at the moment too. But all my learning folders, they'll be on the shop by Monday. I have some folders as well for children in year 3 and 4. It's like a spelling folder based on Key Stage 3 words, and it's tactile again, so they can basically take the words off, practice the words, and if they know the words, they will add it to their list. Shall I be a bit quieter? Okay. So my son's off to basketball now. I'll pick you up after, okay? And I've got another one here for year 5 and 6 children with the same kind of methods as well. So yeah, that should be out by Monday. Yeah, loads of goodies. You'll buy print. Would you buy prints? You'd buy print forms. Yeah, I don't know. I feel as though because it's supposed to be free, I feel like it's free. But when you start, even if I'm selling, even if I sell them just because I've printed it, I think it becomes a bit different. Where people start think of it like a paid for curriculum. So yeah, if I get more interest in in the print form, then definitely I will sell them on the shop as well. How can I teach English and maths when I have no clue? They are the big subjects. Yeah, it's hard to teach English and maths if you have no clue. The way that you teach your children is based on learning the material with your child. So it takes a bit of dedication. So for me, when I'm teaching my children, sometimes they're like, Mum, you don't even know what to teach me. But I'm like, okay, so I'll go on Google, I'll go and get their books out, go to the glossary at the back, figure out what the vocabulary means. So you have to kind of be ready to learn it with them. So like if you have a maths problem that your child has, all you're really going to do is think about what tools you have, what tools you can use to help them to learn that concept, and you have to learn it with them. Some parents I know have done GCSEs at the same time as the children because they're learning so much at the same time. But if you're basically homeschooling your children and want to teach them those things, as you develop through the curriculum with them, you will learn those things and you'll be able to help them that way. But the only way you're going to be able to teach it is if you know it for yourself. So it's not easy. I'm not saying it is easy at all, but it's not, you have to take that time to really understand the different content in order to teach it. I'm going to put loads of links on this. When you go back to watch this video, there'll be loads of links down below that'll kind of take you to different directions, different places. If you have a child primary age, then you can join my silver plan and I will do all the teaching for you and the assessments for you too. 11 plus. Okay, so for the 11 plus, you have to buy some of the materials for the 11 plus. So I recommend, a lot of the schools, they use things like CGP. That's a publication. There's also bonds as well that people use. There's Schofield and Sims. There's an online learning platform called Atom Learning. They're about £60 per month. They cover like the GL assessment, the CEM assessment, and the ISEB board as well. But if you're teaching maths and English to your child, you have to have an idea about how to teach it. But the best thing is get books that have the answer key at the back. You need to have the answer key at the back. If you have a book that hasn't got that, then you're going to struggle so much. Get a good book that also explains to you the detail of why the answer is correct and why the answer is wrong. So that's the best way to do it. Learning the material, that means back to school. When do you recommend a tutor, or can you take them to a class like your academy? I recommend a tutor if you haven't got the time to do it yourself. So I think I believe that parents can teach their children. You can teach your children anything that your child needs to learn. You can help your child with it. Because like I said, we live in 2022 now and everything's available on the web. If your child was learning about algebra, you can literally type in on YouTube how to teach algebra, or, type in the question even in Google, and sometimes the question even comes up. So you've definitely got like YouTube there to help you. There's also something called Khan Academy, amazing platform, absolutely free. Khan Academy has like lessons in all the different subject areas. It obviously is USA based, so it's like it doesn't follow the same method as national curriculum, but it still will give you a better understanding of the best ways to teach your child. There's also like national curriculum documents you can get online to teach your child too. But the main thing is that when your child comes with a problem, you've got to be able to like go online and type in exactly what it is. Type in what you need. Type in the question that they have and use that to help them to learn the material. And also with a tutor, I would say, yeah, if you haven't got the time to teach your child, or you feel like the curriculum is a bit more specialized, then I think go and get a tutor for your child at that point. Can you take them to a class like your academy? Yes, with my class, I have a business called 1.4 Teacher. That's for those of you that are in the Harrow area. You can come to my classes. I teach in groups of 1 adult to 4 children. I have 2 teachers in there. Mrs. Malini works with me. My daughter Maleska also does a bit of work experience there. So those classes there, the parents want the best for their children. Maybe they're too busy with work and other siblings that they just can't do it themselves. So I'm happy to do that for you. Don't ever feel guilty if you take your child to a tutor, because I'm here to help you. Just for those people that maybe can't afford a tutor, or they just need a bit of confidence to know they can do it themselves. That's what I'm talking about. But there's nothing wrong with getting a tutor, because obviously the tutor has been, have a level of experience. They know the curriculum inside out, and they can probably get your child there faster at certain points as well. Or maybe your child's not working very well with you, and you feel as though, they'll sit better with somebody else. That's some reasons as to when to get a tutor. Oh, really? Thank you. Yeah, this is recorded, so I can send someone asked if these videos are being recorded. So they are being recorded, and I can send it on at a later date for you to share with friends if they want to home educate their children, or they just need some advice. Okay, so loads of goodies. All right, I'll just wait for a few more minutes if there's any more questions on here, and then I will leave it. Okay, another question's come through. Okay. Does Miss Malini get further training from your curriculum, or does she have her own method of teaching? So Mrs. Malini she works under the direction of me. So I'm the head teacher for 1.4 Teacher. That's my other company. I'm the CEO of the company. I'm the one. It's all in my brain basically. So she comes in as a helper. Like, she helps with everything I plan for her. So she's homeschooled her children too, and I met her at a homeschool group. She's got really high credentials in terms of her own academics. So I will give her children. So what happens with my class, I teach the main bulk of the group of children. But if there's a child that's coming in that maybe they're a little bit sad when they came in, or maybe they need a little bit more help with a certain topic, they will go into, I've got 2 different rooms. They'll go into another room with Miss Malini, and she will basically help them with those individual concepts. But the way it works, I work on those 2 days, but I spend the rest of the week homeschooling my children and planning for the people that are lucky enough to, come to the tuition. I don't have much spaces. Sorry. I don't have much spaces, so the children that come to 1.4 Teacher, I treat them like they're my own children. So I spend time going through their work, marking their work, checking the areas that they are finding hard. It could be simple things like the way they're forming a letter, and I will create worksheets for that child to make them, learn these things differently. I've just recently sent a message out to my parents, asking them to test their children on some words. I just say, call out these words to your children, get them to write it down, and then just take a picture of it and send it to me. The parent doesn't have to do any marking or anything. I will do the marking myself, and then I'll write down the list of words that they find difficult, and I will teach them the correct way to spell those words and practice that with them. So Miss Malini, she basically just does whatever I tell her to do for the children. If she has suggestions, she will also suggest those things to me as well. But she's been working with me since 2015, so she's been with me for 7 years, and I love her to bits. So Miss Malini, if you're watching, we love you, and we're happy with all the effort and help that you've given us within the class. Yes, thank you, Richard. I did it. I nearly was in tears again, actually. So my daughter said, "Mum, don't worry, I can do it. I can set the computer up for you." So I started setting up from 3:30. And then I got a message from you, Richard, saying, "Oh, we can hear you in the kitchen." So I was like, "Oh no, like you can hear us." And I don't know what I sound like when you can actually hear me behind the scenes, but it just wasn't working again. So I don't know. I like it. It's nice. I've got so many people that come to talk to me, but I don't know if I'll do live again. It's too stressful. It's so stressful. But thank you for the well done and all the comments about me doing an amazing job. It really helps me. It really does. Does your legal rights change if you have a less able child? A less able child, as in if a child has got a special need, there's certain things you need to do. If a child's got a special need, and they're under the local education authority already, then sometimes you need to get permission from them if you're going to home educate your children. So the rules, the parent still has rights as the first educator of the children, but when it comes to child maybe with a special need, they've got to make sure that you're able to meet their full needs at home as maybe they can do at school. So you do have to talk to your local education authority about that, or the education officer, is that what they're called, to find out if there's anything that that needs to be done for that to happen. So your legal rights, you're still legally allowed to homeschool your children, but there's a few more hoops to jump through at that point. But in terms of a less able child, if it's just a child that's maybe working below the national average at school, no, not at all, because obviously, maybe they're just working a little bit below the average, but you can still help them. You can still help them with their learning at home. So it depends what you mean by the term less abled. But parents, you can homeschool your children legally. It's allowed. So I know I still did it, Sean. I still did it, and it's so stressful. It's so stressful. Like, I feel like, I don't know, Facebook Live, I didn't go to sleep much last night. I was just thinking, okay, I've got Facebook Live tomorrow. Like, it didn't go well last week. Shall I still do it today? I've done it, and I'm happy with that. I'm doing it on my phone as well. I planned it out completely different to how it's gone. I felt like I was waffling a bit at the beginning, but I have done it. I'm happy about that. But I think this is the last one, definitely. I think if I do any more like of these, it'll be done through Zoom, like webinar type, where I'm able to prepare it even better. So I'm glad I've done it. I remember in 2014 when I started homeschooling, I thought about doing a live then. So it's taken me a long time to actually do it, and I have done it. So yeah, great. All right, go and get your fish and chips, Richard. Enjoy. And your Chinese, if you're having that. Yes, 2022 is the year of 1.3 family. Yay. Thank you. Tell all your friends. Thank you, Richard. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Okay, so it's a lovely Friday night, guys. I'm going to let you go. Okay, I've got a few questions coming in, okay? I'll still answer. But I'll probably do maybe another 5 minutes or so. So get your questions in for the next 5 minutes, and then I'll let you go for your Friday night. A question here, do you practice safeguarding as you would in school because you homeschool to people looking to join? Yeah, so like if it's people looking to join in terms of my tuition company, then yeah, I've got to look out for the same sort of signs. Same signs that they look for in school, I'd have to look for that as well in terms of other people's children. They're paying me, they're giving me a paid full service. So okay, hold on. Do you practice safeguarding as you would in a school because you homeschool to people looking to join? So in terms of tuition, yes, safeguarding. In terms of parent, I just carefully look after my children. So as a homeschooler, it's not the same thing as it would be in school, because obviously it's your children. Safeguarding really comes up if there's something that's happened with your child and people want to make sure that they're safe. There's a lot of issues in terms of safeguarding children that comes up within the homeschool environment, because the government wants to kind of get us registered, and they feel as though children are not safe if they're homeschooled by their parents. But right now, think about the time right now. The time is Friday. It's probably about 6 o'clock or something right now. You're all at home with your children. Whether or not you homeschool your kids or don't homeschool your children, you're still at home with your children. No one's looking at you as though you're doing anything wrong to your children right now. So that makes it no different from you than it should be for me as a home educator. What makes me more of a danger to society than somebody like you? So I don't really get that at all. And I feel as though a lot of bad things happen to children in schools, on the streets, like with people that parents don't know. Bad things happen to children, which is, it's a horrible thing. We want to protect our children as much as we can, but in terms of having to safeguard a child just because they've been homeschooled, I don't agree with that, because I feel as though every child should be safeguarded anyway. As adults, we should all be looking at children and make sure that they're safe, but you shouldn't just think about a parent as being a criminal because they homeschool. No, I don't agree with that, but I don't know if that makes any sense. Yeah, carefully look after my children. Why are you laughing? That's all you need to do, is just look after your children the right way, make sure they don't get hurt, make sure that they're safe. That's what I do. But I don't write any boxes or tick anything to say I've safeguarded this and I've done this. I check if there's any sharp objects. Not as much now they're old. My daughter's got a blister on the back of her foot because what did she do against get that blister? She got a blister on the back of her foot. If she was a child now, they might want to know, how did you get that blister on the back of your foot? And rightly so. If you haven't told the teacher that your child has got an injury. But then at the same time, I remember with my son Tiago, when he was at school, he came home with a broken tooth, blood in his collar, and his jumper was completely stretched. And I asked him what happened to him. He was only in year 1 at the time. And a year 4 child had come and attacked him in the playground and literally beat him and broke his tooth. And I remember going down to the school saying, okay, listen, if I had brought my child to your school looking the way that you sent me home, you would call safeguarding on me. And I'm telling you that my son was not safe in your care. This has happened to him. Nobody knew what's going on. He has a blood condition, all these different things I said to them. And I was so upset with them. And they just kept trying to say, oh, no, these things happen. But I'm like, no, it's not acceptable. Because if that happened at home, you wouldn't accept it. So I don't accept it for my child either. So, yes. Okay, let's move on. Do you introduce the Bible to unreligious people, or do they have a choice? Do you introduce the Bible to unreligious people, or do they have a choice? Or is this strictly with your own children? Do you introduce the Bible? Yeah, so basically, I think there's like a bit of a confusion in terms of what homeschooling is. So there's two different things. You've got homeschooling, and homeschool, it's not, okay, the better term would be home education. So you've got home education, that's where you educate your children at home. That's something else. I've got a video coming out soon called Can You Homeschool My Kids? And I think this is where the confusion comes in. So home education is where you teach your own children at home. And then tuition, or like home tutoring, is something completely different. So I've got two main businesses. One is 1.3 Family. That's just based on myself and how I run my household as a family, as a mother of my children. Then you have 1.4 Teacher. That's based on my business. That's registered, that's a registered business. That's a registered company, and that one is based on me. I pay my taxes, I look after other people's children. I don't teach a Bible with 1.4 Teacher. So 1.4 Teacher is strictly based on a national curriculum for maths and English, 11 plus verbal reasoning, non-verbal reasoning, and anything else they need. Phonics, I prepare them for their year 6 SATs. I prepare their year 1 children for their phonics screening test. You've got the year 2 children doing their year 2 SATs, the year 4 children doing their multiplication tables. That's something completely different. Sometimes the business merges together, and I always worry about that because obviously me as a Christian, I'm very Bible based. So with my own children at 1.3 Academy, we learn the Bible on a very high level. So the curriculum that I run with them is an A.C.E curriculum. It's all Bible based. It's all based on scripture. It's all based on creation, 7-day creation. But I wouldn't touch upon that too much in my 1.4 Teacher business. The parents are the educators of their children, as a common theme throughout this video. So a parent, I will respect the parent's view of however it is that they want to teach their children. I wouldn't put my own thoughts over onto their children because it's not my right to do that. So as a tutor, is focused purely on what needs to be taught to them. And as a parent, my children learn what it is that I want to teach them, basically. So some people say, don't you think you're indoctrinating your children? Well, kind of, yes. I'm teaching them. It's indoctrination to a point in terms of they're learning about the Bible as a fact. But in the same way in school, the children are kind of being indoctrinated there too, because they're learning about the humanistic worldview in terms of like the science curriculum says things like they're animals. It's like, learning about humans, including animals. So in school, they learn that there. So that's like a level of indoctrination too. So we teach our children, our own children, what we believe to be true. And then the child will have to grow up and work out whether or not they believed it or not. So I like to give my own children 2 different concepts. I always tell my children, take 2 sets of notes. So even though I'm teaching them about biblical curriculum, I also teach them the theory of evolution. Once this foundation has been established, then we can debate different topics after. That's the sort of way that I teach at home. I really don't know if it makes any sense. In my own curriculum, in my own curriculum, this 1.4 Academy, that's more Bible. So the 1. This one's not. So some of my curriculums that I have, like this one here, the learning folders, that's just based on like simple phonics. That's not going to have, but shouldn't really have any Bible in there. It's just like literally a phonics book, learning different things based on phonics like you would in school, but it still comes under the same brand of 1.3 curriculum. So 1.3 curriculum is things that I produced here, and these ones are all just based on national curriculum, but it will say it. So like this one will say practice the year 5 and 6 national curriculum spelling word list. This is not Bible based at all. But then when it comes down to 1.3 Academy, that will have a mixture. So it's got a bit of both. So like I said, in year 6, they'll do evolution in there, they'll do the Bible based things in there, but they will learn things like the 10 Commandments and just all biblical things I would learn inside there. So my curriculum, it is a Christian. It's from a Christian worldview at 1.3 Academy. So it won't be for everybody, but it's a really cool curriculum. So check it out. It's free. You can always sign up, and then if you don't like it, just delete yourself, say bye, and move on. But it is a really good curriculum. So it's taken me 3 years to create it and develop the things that I've developed on there and kind of make it ready. But it is good, and it really is helpful in showing you a different way to teach your children about the world around them. And we learn everything. We learn about Hinduism. We learn about Lhasa, Confucius, Buddha. We learn about the Egyptians, Mesopotamia. We learn about the alphabet, the Phoenicians. We learn about so many things, even things I'm like, wow, I need to learn more about this myself. So check it out. It is really, really, it's really good because it's not purely mine. It's based on things that I've seen and found throughout the years I've taught with my own children, and I've seen it work. And yeah, check it out. Please give me notice as I'm trying to answer questions from people on WhatsApp. Please do again. I will do. So for RM, if I do any more of these again, if you have any questions, tell them to leave it down below anyway, and I'll try again to answer some questions for anybody that's interested. I've got one more question from 5 Kids and Ashani. Shout out to 5 Kids and Ashani. She's my sister. She's got a really good channel as well. Okay, one more question from her. Okay, any tips on how to help a child get better grip on the pencil? Use pencil stoppers. You can buy these little pencil stoppers from WH Smith's, or use thick pens. Like I tend to use paper with thick felt tip pens to get them to write with. They should have a natural grip anyway, but it depends on the age of the child. If they're 4 years old, help them as much as they can. If your child's a bit older, say maybe 7 or 8, sometimes I don't think it's worth really trying to correct the pencil grip at that point. But from a younger age, it's literally trying to grip the pencil in between the 2 fingers. So this finger here, the pencil goes in between the 2 fingers and they grab it like that to try to write it. But a triangular pencil also helps, or pencil stoppers. I hope that helps. Okay, guys, thank you so much for coming to join me. You've made me feel so much more better in terms of still coming to my live and not crying again like I did last week. I do suffer from anxiety. If you've watched any of my other videos, like I said before, I know I shouldn't really declare that as a Christian, but it's something that as I've got older, I've noticed more and more of that going on. But it really means a lot to me, you all coming here and joining, my YouTube live and talking to me and finding out more about what I believe and, what I'm doing to try and help other families within the community. So yeah, I really, really appreciate it. Have a lovely Friday night and come back again next week for some more videos. Okay, I'll speak to you all soon. God bless. Bye. Now I have no idea how to close this now. Malaya? My children are so good at technology. I just let them do everything for me. Thank you. Say hello to everyone first as well. This is my daughter, by the way. She's the one who helped me.
Hello. Okay, goodbye.
Oh, I'm trying to just listen. Thank you. Yes, had a parents' evening. That was the main thing point. Oh, is that all? Just the pencil grip. That's not big at all. But yeah, we can work on that. I'll give you some pencil stoppers when I next see you. All right. See you later.
Oh, goodbye.
Hi. Bye again.